Personal mastery for me really is about a deep level of understanding yourself, of having the intention to be very specific about how you show up in the world and to modulate or to regulate how you think, how you feel, and how you do things. Like, those are the three human capacities that I keep coming back to, because that kind of encompasses the entire human experience. And so personal mastery means that I become better and more intentional in each of those three capacities. So if I had to share three ideas around how we do this, the first would be self-awareness. We think we know ourselves, but we don't. That's why we often like doing these personality tests or tests on Facebook, whatever it may be, because you fill in a form and someone says to you, well, this is who you are. And that feels like an easy way of getting to know yourself. But the reality is it takes time, it takes effort. And so you need to create situations where you can get feedback, whether that is you giving feedback to yourself through a process like journaling or doing tests like this. Or secondly is to get feedback from people around you, people that you trust, people who look at you through different filters and different lenses, like perhaps having a coach that looks at one specific aspect of how you do things, a partner, a spouse, whatever, someone who understands you and can give you feedback and you trust that they have your best interests at heart. Secondly is that it really comes down to agency, that you have to believe that the way that you show up in the world influences the world, and that you have to take ownership of the decisions that you make and the actions that you take. We are often conditioned to become quite helpless in the world. There's this idea called learned helplessness from Martin Seligman, who was the father of positive psychology. And he said that often over time, we find ourselves in a situation where we are helpless. We feel like we can't influence what's happening to us at that moment. We become the victim, and that then becomes conditioned into us over time. But of course, it's not true. You always have some level of agency and power in any given situation. It's just about finding that, finding the leverage, finding the action that you can take, finding the decision that you can make. So it's always great to come back to this idea of agency and how can I influence what is happening to me, instead of just being a passive recipient of the consequences of the environment that I find myself in. And then thirdly is that you have to choose mastery. You have to choose that you want to become better at these things that you care about. And it takes work. That's why the choice here is so important, because it's not, mastery doesn't imply just I try and therefore I'm better. It implies that I choose what I want to become better at. I put a plan into action that's going to help me become better at that thing. And then it's about practice and repetition and feedback. Mastery is a very sexy word, but it implies a lot of effort that goes in behind it. And there's this, idea about the 10,000 hour rule, for example, that says you have to put 10,000 hours in order to reach a level of mastery. But that's not always the case. Something to maybe think about is that you want to engage in 10,000 different experiments, 10,000 tries and moments of effort that will move you forward. So once you've chosen the thing that you want to become better at, that you want to master in yourself, think of how many experiments can I run that's going to help me become better at that thing, give me the feedback I need so I can iterate and keep improving along the way.